What's going on, people? I just thought I'd bring you a new show, because you know what's mad? After games, I always get in a situation where I see certain things in games and I do my match reactions or I do my fan cams, and then you'll get certain people that might totally say the complete opposite to what I've said. And then it always makes you think. I never question how I see the game in it because I feel like I've got a good eye for football. But I said, you know what, yeah? Let me see the numbers, innit? So I hollered at my guy, Statman Baines, yeah? Big up Statman Baines as well. You lot make sure you go over there and follow him on Instagram. United fan, good guy, and he's got some good comparisons on there, man. I'm going to put the link to his page in the description. So I shouted at him and I was like, bro, send me the stats for the game. Because I'm thinking in my head, I'm not losing my mind, innit? Because there's certain things, like certain man think Luke Shaw had a good game yesterday. I watched the game and I saw that he didn't do nothing in it. But certain people have an unconscious bias towards him in it. And the same goes for even Bruno to a certain degree. I remember last week when I was like, Bruno didn't play that well, gave the ball away a lot. People were on to me. So I was like, nah. There's something not right. So what we're going to do after every game, United in numbers, we're going to assess certain players and what it looks like numbers wise in it. And it would just be good for me. It's always good to kind of either confirm that what you saw was correct or to look at it and say, oh, maybe I didn't see that, bro. And I'm sure there will be times where certain stats surprise me. But actually, when I looked at these, none of them surprised me. So big up everyone in the building. Make sure you smash that like button already. We're going to go straight in with man like Bruno Fernandes. Brilliant signing for Manchester United, playing in that advanced number 10 role. I was proper bemused yesterday because I counted Bruno losing the ball at least 10 times in the first 20 minutes of the game. And Gary Neville was just sucking him off. I'm not going to lie, bro. You know what I mean? And I've noticed Bruno's another one that a lot of our fan base, as soon as he puts his foot on the ball, everyone goes mad. He's a brilliant player, a player that I like a lot, and a player that we needed, yeah? However, there's an unconscious bias towards Bruno, yeah, that's not there for Paul Pogba. You lot can make up your minds as to why those reasons are there, innit? Like I've said all I need to say on the subject. We're looking at Bruno now against Sheffield United. 75 touches of the ball, not bad. 100% long balls completed. Doesn't really play that many long balls, so that would make sense. Pass accuracy is only 77.2%. Only 77.2. Lost possession 23 times, guys. That's a lot, by the way. Do you know what I'm saying? 23 times in a game. And not once when Bruno gave the ball away did I hear I didn't see anyone tweeting about it. I didn't see Gary Neville talking about it. Whereas when Paul Pogba would lose the ball once, all of a sudden, man would be chatting shit about him or saying, oh yeah, he's not chasing back and that. All these things, when Bruno does it, nobody cares, bro. Do you know what I mean? Them man know why. Do you know what I'm saying? One chance created from the number 10 role. It's not really that great. You know what I mean? And one shot on target out of 2 shots. Decent. And 0 crosses completed out of the 6 that he attempted. Decent game. Some people were saying he had a really, really good game. I didn't think so. I just thought he was good, innit? I still think that Bruno has probably got 2 levels to go up. I said at the beginning of the game that he still looks off the pace compared to the level he was playing at before. These numbers actually confirm that. They actually confirm that. But the thing is with Bruno, because there's such a bias with him, that when he does like normal things, people have got, you know what I mean? People are having one of those, bro. Like, again, he's not reached the levels that he was playing at before. And then we compare that to Paul Pogba's games, who was up there for man of the match, really. 89 touches, 100% dribbles completed, 100% aerial duels won, 89% long balls completed, 83.5 pass accuracy, bro. 67% ground duels won and 4 chances created. 4 chances created from a deeper position. So put this into context, yeah? No player on the pitch completed more dribbles, more duels, yeah, one more duels, or created more chances than Pogba, who played in a much deeper role than Bruno Fernandes. So he's playing deeper than Bruno, created four chances. When Pogba was playing in that advanced number 10 role, he was giving us a higher output than Bruno's been giving us since he's come to the club. The only difference is, yeah, people just don't like Pogba. That's just the facts, bro. Like, the numbers actually back that up. So when Bruno first came in and everyone was like, Bruno's done more in 5 games than Pogba's done his whole time in Manchester United, it's actually factually incorrect, bro. It's factually incorrect. Pogba lost possession on average, yeah, last season 17.2 times. And he had loads of crap players around him, bro. Man was playing with dead ballers around him, bro. Bruno's coming to a Manchester United team that's a lot better than it was last season, with the addition of the Maguires, the Wan-Bissakas, etc., etc. And Bruno averages 22.7 times he loses the ball a game. So Bruno's losing the ball more than Pogba, creating less chances than him. And people are eulogizing over what Bruno's doing. But the reality is Pogba was doing more and was playing better. But people didn't want to see it, bro. Do you know what I mean? And that's where man comes with the unconscious bias. I had to watch Gary Neville like knocking one out over Bruno giving the ball away. Like that's what I was watching, innit? Top player, yeah, but bias plays a big part in how commentators talk about players and how a lot of fans see games. I try and take as much bias as I can out of the game, yeah, and just try and watch the game to the point where I can see when things are happening. Like Wan-Bissaka is another player, yeah. I like him defensively, but attacking wise, because I like elegant players and stuff like that, sometimes I have to take out of my mind what it actually looks like when he's on the ball and actually watch what he does. Because he doesn't look good on the ball at all. But actually, he's very effective. So I have to take my natural bias here for players like a Dalot. I prefer much prefer to watch someone like Dalot play at right back than Wan-Bissaka because of how I like to see the game played. But the facts are, Dallow's not better than him, innit? He's not more effective than him. He's just not, innit? So I just have to watch Wan-Bissaka and be like, cool. What does this guy do? What does he give, man? Etc., bro. And I feel like more people need to start watching the game objectively, bro, because Bruno's a top player. But if Bruno's a top player, yeah, and he's not as good as Paul Pogba or even close to him, then that tells you how good Pogba is. And look at the slander that guy gets. It's unreal. Pogba's top 5 players in the world. For me, only Neymar, Messi, and Ronaldo you can put ahead of him, like with your chest. Anyone else, I don't see it, mate. You know what I mean? Mbappe, top player, he's not better than Paul Pogba, mate. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them ones where it's very funny. Next up, Nemanja Matic, who was my man of the match, aside from Anthony Martial's goals. And the numbers, 104 touches, 100% long balls completed. He doesn't play long passes anyway, so that could be quite deceptive. 96% pass accuracy. So when man said after the game he didn't do anything wrong, there you go. Almost 100% pass accuracy. And yes, he does play the safe passes, but for a player in his position, you want him to do that. He lost possession 6 times in the game, but he recovered the ball 8 times. So you could argue that every time he lost the ball, he won it back, innit? I got no problems with that. And 2 out of 3 dribbles completed, so he wasn't really caught in possession. So overall, steady game, bruv. I rated his performance highly. Yes, it wasn't against much opposition because Sheffield United aren't very good and they didn't offer much going forward. However, you can only play what's in front of you, innit? And I have to give man credit based on his performance and not based on the level of opposition. And that's the same with like the Bruno and Pogba thing as well. Like, we weren't playing against a great team and Bruno still gave the ball away 23 times. Do you know what I'm saying? So in my head, I'll always be more harsh on a player and be like, bruv, against a team of that caliber, you probably shouldn't be losing the ball as much. Do you know what I mean? Because if you play up against a better team and you want to give them the ball 23 times, you could end up being a liability. You see what I'm saying? So if we're going to get onto Paul Pogba for losing the ball trying to create, then we have to get onto Bruno for losing the ball. Or what you can do is you can appreciate that when you play in that creative role and you've got the creative burden, yeah, you're going to try things and you're going to lose the ball. But then it means all the criticism that was leveled at Pogba before was incorrect and everyone owes him an apology. So you man could choose which one it is. Either any man that was chatting shit about Pogba, yeah, can either apologize or they need to admit that Bruno's not playing well. One or the other, innit? I don't care which one it is, really, because I believe that man needs to apologize to Pogba anyway, and Bruno's not playing that great. And people are over sensationalizing how well he's playing, because I still think he's a lot better than what we're seeing. Either way, adjustments need to be made at how people are looking at the game. Next one, Wan-Bissaka versus Luke Shaw, yeah. I've got the stats for the season as a whole, because the funny thing about these two is Wan-Bissaka seen as this defensive fullback, Luke Shaw seen as this attacking fullback, yeah. However, Wan-Bissaka's attacking stats are better than Luke Shaw's, and his defensive stats are better than Luke Shaw's, which kind of goes with my theory that Luke Shaw's just not really either. He's just average. And I've seen the heat maps as well. Can't get them up on the screen at the moment, but Wan-Bissaka's average starting position is higher up the pitches than Luke Shaw's. And when you look at his heat map as well, it's closer to the touchline and the byline than Luke Shaw's. Bro. Luke Shaw very rarely gets past the edge of the 18-yard box. This is factual, isn't it? I said this yesterday. I was like, he's not going down the outside, beating his man and putting a cross in. And someone was like, oh, that no, he was making runs. He doesn't make those runs, guys. It's all in your heads. It's all in your heads. He put in a cross yesterday that Agallo should have brought down, but he crossed it early. He didn't go past no one to do that. He didn't. And loads of people are seeing things in their head. I don't know where they're seeing them. I don't know where they're seeing them because they didn't happen in the game, I promise. You know what I mean? And Wan-Bissaka is this guy that needs to work on his attacking. Everyone talks about needs to work on his attacking, but he's got more assists than Luke Shaw. He creates more chances on average than Luke Shaw and goes past players more often. And he's the one that needs to work on his attacking. Again, it's bias. Minutes played, Wan-Bissaka's played a lot more minutes. 2,541 minutes to 1,145 in Luke Shaw's favour. Obviously, Luke Shaw got put out the team for Brandon Williams a lot of the time. Pass accuracy, 80.1% for Wan-Bissaka, 87.3% for Luke Shaw. Not really a surprise. Luke Shaw's a very safe footballer. I've always said it. He always plays the safe pass. If in doubt, sideways or backwards with Luke Shaw. He very rarely tries to face up his player, go passing down the outside. You know what I mean? And he doesn't really pass forward either. So it's not really a surprise that he's got a better pass accuracy. Total duels won in a game, 6.5 for Wan-Bissaka to Luke Shaw. So that's in favour of Wan-Bissaka there. Pass accuracy in favour of Luke Shaw. Tackles per game, 3.7 to 1.4 in favour of Wan-Bissaka again. Interceptions per game, 1.9 to 1.1 in favour of Wan-Bissaka again. Clearances per game, 1.9 to 2.5 in favour of Luke Shaw. Not really a surprise to me either, because when I watch Luke Shaw, he does make a lot of last-ditch covering challenges. He does that a lot. And a lot of that is also down to the fact that his average starting position is a lot deeper than Wan-Bissaka's. So a lot of the time you see Luke Shaw covering for Harry Maguire. If Harry Maguire gets caught out of position on that left-hand side, you see it. You see him putting these last-ditch back post challenges, and that you do see that. You don't see that from Wan-Bissaka on the other side. Is it because man are defending? Is it because he's defending deeper? Is it because maybe Harry gets caught out of position more? Is it because teams attack more down the left-hand side because they know they can get more change out of him? It could be a combination of all the above. Do you know what I mean? Like we heard even in during the game yesterday, you could hear vocally people were screaming overload on Luke Shaw's side. I think that teams have noticed, yeah, that they can't get change out of Wan-Bissaka, but they can with Luke Shaw. So they focus on attacking down that side more. Do you know what I mean? So I think that the clearances could have a lot to do with the fact that there's a lot more pressure on man because guys run at him. And also, as a fullback, if you're not engaging your opposition and driving them back, it invites them on you. Wan-Bissaka doesn't invite as much pressure on himself because he genuinely starts higher up the pitch. This isn't my opinion. These are factually correct statements due to the numbers, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? So not all numbers are relative, and also certain numbers have to be contextualized in football. But when a lot of people want to go for opinion versus opinion, then sometimes it's just better to have numbers because then it's not an opinion no more, innit? All right, dribbled pass per game is 0.7 to 0.6. Wan-Bissaka to Luke Shaw. So Luke Shaw slightly edges that by 0.1 or whatever it is. Again, that's so tight, it might as well be even. Luke Shaw gets dribbled past less. I don't know what that's down to. I couldn't tell you guys. Do you know what I mean? Because both of them, to be fair, both of them don't really get beaten. Wan-Bissaka wins a lot more tackles. So I don't know what dribbled pass per game actually. I don't know what that correlates. Because if that means beaten man completely and gets a crossing, then that's not correct. Because man don't get past Bissaka like that. So I'd like to see how they measure dribbled pass, didn't it? That's not a stat that I know very well. Fouls conceded 0.5 to 1 but in favor of Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Very rarely gives away a foul. You know what I mean? Blocks per game, 0.4 Wan-Bissaka, 0.3 Luke Shaw. So there's not too much in that either. Do you know what I'm saying? So let's go on to the attacking stats, innit? Because Wan-Bissaka is a defensive fullback, allegedly. No goals for either of them. 3 assists for Wan-Bissaka, none for Luke Shaw. Big chances created, 4 for Wan-Bissaka, none for Luke Shaw. Dribbles per game, Aaron averages 1.6. Luke Shaw averages 0.9. So less than 1 dribble past an opponent per game. Key passes per game, 0.8 to 0.9 in favor of Luke Shaw. So very little in that. Both of them not much productivity. And fouls won, 0.5 to 0.4 in favor of Wan-Bissaka. So again, nothing in that. These guys don't really go past players. Wan-Bissaka goes past players more than Luke Shaw does. However, they don't draw fouls by beating players, and key passes, they're not really involved in the final third. So both of their productivities in the final thirds aren't very good when you compare them to a Trent Alexander and a Robertson. Do you know what I mean? And then when you look at the average starting position of Luke Shaw, it's behind the halfway line. Wan-Bissaka's is ahead of the halfway line. If you compare that to a Robertson, his average start position is a lot higher up than Luke Shaw. So when I say to people that with better coaching, yeah, this Manchester United team can be a lot more ruthless and effective, this is what I mean. Robertson starts further up than Luke Shaw because he's coached to do so. Under Van Gaal, Luke Shaw didn't have a choice but to get to the byline because that's the way he was made to play. If you give Luke Shaw the option of playing the way he wants, he's going to be lazy and he's not going to make those runs. The stats prove it. The heat maps prove it. The average start position and average position in the game proves it. Because against a team like Sheffield United, who did not put us under any pressure, there's no reason for Luke Shaw, average start position to be on the halfway line. It should be a lot higher up. Especially on the side of the pitch with Marcus Rashford, where you've got someone that you could link up with and overlap. Wan-Bissaka didn't have that because Mason was drifting inside. Yet Wan-Bissaka held the width and played higher up the pitch than Luke Shaw with no support down that side. So our left-back position is a clear problem for anyone that understands what's going on when they watch the game. Shots, crosses completed, Wan-Bissaka's ahead. 0.4 to 0.3, still not great. Do you know what I'm saying? And then shots per game, 0.2 to 0.5 in favor of Luke Shaw, which isn't a surprise because I only remember ever once seeing Wan-Bissaka shoot. So that's not a surprise. But either way, both of them don't get higher and up the pitch and in positions to shoot because they're not attacking-minded players. Luke Shaw's known as this attack-minded fullback, but he doesn't attack. So this myth that he had a good game yesterday, yeah, it didn't happen, guys. It didn't. No one's saying Wan-Bissaka had a good game, and he had a better game than Luke Shaw's. So if Wan-Bissaka didn't have a good game, neither did Luke Shaw. That's basically what man's trying to say, innit? All right, and last but not least, come on, bruv. Jimwood, bruv. Been in the gym. Mason Jimwood, Greenwood FC, Gunwood FC. Man know the things. We've compared Dan James's stats against Tottenham, yeah, to Mason Greenwood's against Sheffield United because I was cussing Dan James after. And I also said that in my match reaction that Mason Greenwood deserves a run of play, innit? He deserves a run of games. The next few games with Brighton, Bournemouth, and who's the other team? I think Villa, beatable. He should start all these games. And the numbers have actually agreed. Minutes played, Dan James, 62 minutes against Spurs to 80 minutes for Mason Greenwood. Mason Greenwood had 47 touches in 80 minutes to Dan James's 31. Pass accuracy, 68.4, Daniel James. Pass accuracy, Mason Greenwood, 94.4. Like I said yesterday, very tidy in possession. Very rarely gives the ball away. Even when he's not having the biggest impact on the game, one thing that you can guarantee with Mason Greenwood is he takes care of the ball. Possession lost yesterday 3 times. Dan James lost the ball 10 times against Tottenham. And he wasn't even in the game. Dan James, no shots against Tottenham. Mason Greenwood took 5 shots yesterday. So yeah, that speaks for itself. Mason's more of a goal threat. He's better in possession. He makes better runs, therefore he's involved in the game more and has more touches of the ball. There's absolutely no argument for Daniel James playing ahead of him. And if you talk about defensively, then against Sheffield United, Mason Greenwood made 4 tackles. 4 tackles and interceptions in total. Dan James has averaged 0.5 tackles and interceptions this season. So the argument that he is a defensive winger is void, innit? Solskjaer's been doing this, Dan James, he gives us so much defensively. He doesn't. The proof is in the numbers. So Daniel James is rubbish, guys. He's rubbish. And he offers nothing but pace and headless running. That's all he offers. So someone needs to show Ollie these numbers, innit? Because he offers us nothing. He's not good enough. Simply. You know what I mean? It's not just me not liking him as a footballer. He's not good enough. He's averaged 0.9 tackles a game. So that means he averages less than a tackle per game. He don't get shots off. He loses the ball. Why is he playing, bro? Literally, he's worse than Jesse Lingard. I've been saying it. The numbers actually prove that. Even when Jesse's playing crap, he might still get a shot off, even if you don't hit the target. Like, James offers nothing, guys. So the fact that Angel Gomez and Jesse Lingard aren't in the squad, in matchday squad, when you got 5 subs, but Daniel James is, it shows a clear bias and favoritism from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Because you can't tell me that the Manchester United team, if they can't see this, then they shouldn't be in the positions they're in. So that means they're seeing it and overlooking it. Or you can't tell me they don't have access to these numbers. Because if Statman Baines has access to these numbers, Ole Solskjaer and Michael Carrick and Mick Phelan and Kieran McKenna all have access to these numbers. So bun them in it. You know what I'm saying? So overall, good performance yesterday. I'm happy with it. And yeah, like, it's nice to see the numbers correlated with what I saw. And when they don't, you're going to find out too on this show, because the numbers are there, in it. And also I do my match reaction straight after the game. These numbers, I'm going to always put the show out the day after the game. So because I don't see the numbers until the day after the game, I get these stats in the morning. It'll be good because then we can compare as well, whether what I saw correlated numbers wise or if it didn't. You know what I'm saying? And the same with you guys, isn't it? So it's good to kind of have some sort of perspective. So make sure you smash the like button. Let me know in the comment section if any of them stats surprised you from what you saw. And yeah, make sure you go and follow Statman Baines on Instagram. It's Statman and then Baines, Bains, my brother. So big up everyone for tuning in. We're gonna be doing the same thing after all the games. Also, make sure you add me on all the rest of the socials if you haven't already. And if you ain't following the Patreon channel, make sure you go into the description and subscribe to that. Plenty more interviews coming with some interesting names. Ex-Manchester United players I've got lined up. And yo, I've got some good names. I've got a good ex-Arsenal player as well that you lot are going to enjoy, bruv, because he's always ringing the banter. So plenty more to come from me. Big up everyone that's tuned in, and I'll catch you after the next game.